We are learning new details this morning after a home in Virginia exploded as officers tried to serve a search warrant. Take a closer look at some of this video. It's new just into our newsroom, showing that blast last night. Shocking new video caught exclusively by WCNC Charlotte shows the moments a suspect was captured after an overnight manhunt. You see him there running across the street. 29-year-old Jeremy Huffman now behind bars this morning, facing several charges for shooting at deputies and leading them on a chase through several counties. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Vane now live for us from the scene. Richard, you watched this whole thing go down.
Crews are currently investigating after a Delta flight from Atlanta landed without its front nose gear. You can see that plane tipped forward there. Thankfully, no one was hurt in the incident, but obviously a really scary situation for more than 100 people on board that flight.
These pictures showing the plane on the runway just moments after it landed. Passengers deplaned and were shuttled back to the airport.
All breaking news out of Stanley County. Right now, crews are dealing with the aftermath of a multi-alarm fire at a popular restaurant. Take
a look at some of this video. It's happening at Jay's Seafood Restaurant. That's over on Stony Gap Road in Albemarle. NCDOT telling WCNC Charlotte this is happening near exit 32. That's the North Tryon Street exit. We know 3 people taken to the hospital. They're expected to be okay.
Right now, we're following several court hearings in both Mecklenburg and Union counties. The suspects you see on your screen are expected to appear before a judge this morning in 2 separate cases. First, 18-year-old Eric Caldwell will appear in court any moment now after CMPD says he shot and killed a 19-year-old back in October.
2 separate shootings leaving 3 people dead. In Northeast Charlotte, CMPD says 2 people were killed in a shooting at an apartment complex.
Then in Steel Creek, a shooting left 1 man dead and a 17-year-old in the hospital.
You have just heard from members of law enforcement and local elected officials, including the governor, after that deadly ambush at East Charlotte killed 4 officers and left 4 others hurt. Thanks for joining us here for the news at noon. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Sarah French. Right now, we learn the fallen deputy marshal, that 4th victim, has been identified. Thomas Weeks is his name. CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings also says 1 officer still in the hospital and in stable condition after getting surgery from a gunshot wound overnight.
Take a look at your screen. Task force officers and former corrections officer Samuel Pelocci and William Alden Elliott, along with CMPD officer Joshua Iyer, all killed in yesterday's shooting. As we mentioned, we've also learned in the last hour that Deputy Marshal Thomas Weeks was killed as well. We are awaiting his picture at this moment. The directors of the U.S. Marshal Service says Weeks had been with the service for 14 years. He's survived by his wife, but not only that, 4 children. And that police identified the suspect as 39-year-old Terry Clark Hughes Jr. He was wanted for possession of a firearm by a felon and a charge known as felony flee to elude. Police in the last hour going over some of the information of how it went down and when and where he was shot yesterday afternoon.
So there's still a lot more to get to. We have team coverage. Right now, WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is in the Shannon Park neighborhood hearing from neighbors after that horrific ordeal.
Destiny Richards is at Atrium Hospital in Dilworth with more on the fallen officers and those who are still recovering at this point. And Austin Walker hearing from the wider Charlotte community as we all mourn the loss of 4 officers. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us now live there from the scene. Richard, we've heard a lot from officers, get a better understanding of how things went down yesterday afternoon. And you've also been speaking to neighbors about what they saw.
Yeah, at least a half dozen to a dozen neighbors throughout the day since yesterday, actually. So some of them on camera, some of them off camera, all of them saying the same thing. This was a tragedy. It seemed like they were in a war zone. But this man has video. He actually live streamed this on Facebook Live. He came home with his son, and then his son was told by marshals to go inside. They both went inside, but Mr. Sane, he actually stood outside.
And we're just getting this photo now of U.S. Deputy Marshal Thomas Weeks. What we do know about him, 48 years old, survived by his wife and 4 children. And as you can see in that photo, they said in the press conference, he was known for always having a smile on his face. Now at noon, we're tracking severe weather across the Carolinas as we remain weather aware today. today. We start with a live look at your radar. At this hour, storm system is bringing a lot of rain and strong winds across the area. Thanks for joining us for the news at noon, everyone. I'm Sarah French.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Right now, we're already starting to see some damage. We've got some video we want to show you, tweeted out by the York County Sheriff's Office. You can see branches and trees blocking roads. This is at West Old Limestone Road and Lincoln Road. And folks, just get ready. This is going to be a common sight throughout the Carolinas today. Crews already working to clear roads there, even as we speak.
These storms also causing power outages already. Right now, Duke Energy says about more than 13,000 customers are in the dark across the Carolinas. The company says it has crews ready to respond throughout the day as needed.
Let's go ahead and get a check of things where they stand right now at Charlotte Douglas. Right now, there are 132 delays, 24 cancellations, that number climbing by the hour. American Airlines offering free trip changes due to the severe weather.
So right now we have team coverage as we work to keep you and your family safe.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane and Destiny Richards will join us live with the impacts we're already seeing.
But first, meteorologist Chris Mulcahy standing by with more on the rain and wind threat in our area. Chris, to York County right now where we are getting reports of that damage.
That's right. WCNC Charlotte's Kaylin Hagwood joins us live. You can see the scene unfolding behind her. Trees, branches, power crews already out there. Kaylin.
Yeah, Ben, Sarah, don't want to scare you guys just north of downtown York, but we do want to make you more educated.
First at noon, we continue to track Hurricane Idalia. It made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane this morning along the Big Bend region of Florida's Gulf Coast, causing flooding and damage.
It's now been downgraded since then to a Category 1, but it is still a powerful and dangerous storm as it moves across Florida, Georgia, and up into the Carolinas. Take a look at this video. This is from Cedar Key. You can see just how massive the flooding is there, how high those waters are. Evacuation orders are already in place throughout low-lying parts of that state.
Welcome back. We continue to track the path of Hurricane Idalia. It's now a Category 1 storm. You're taking a live look at pictures from Cedar Key, where the storm has brought heavy rains leading to flooding in some areas as well. Meteorologist Chris Mulcahy will have an update coming up for you in just 3 minutes.
We start with a tragic story topping our local headlines. We now know the name of a Rocky River High School student who was killed in a car crash yesterday. Thanks for joining us here for the news at 11:30. I'm Ben Thompson. CMS tells us 18-year-old Giovanni Escamilla Salinas, who you see right here, was killed in that crash. As we speak, a number of Trump supporters are gearing up at Bojangles Coliseum, just hours ahead of former president's rally here in the Queen City. Tonight will be his first public appearance since President Biden bowed out of the 2024 presidential election. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live with a preview of all the action. Richard, folks have been lining up there since early this morning. We come on the air right now at 11:30 with breaking news. We're learning a man is facing charges after an incident at Bank of America Stadium. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Kaylin Hagwood in for Sarah French. Within the last hour, we learned Brian Outland was arrested and has a court date for this afternoon in Mecklenburg County. According to documents we obtained, he's accused of using a cell phone to take pictures under a teenage girl's skirt Saturday night at the stadium. He was released on bond early yesterday morning. Also breaking in Rock Hill, just in the last few hours, police say they've arrested one person after an 18-year-old was shot in the head at McDonald's.
Right now, 20-year-old Jamison Dunham is charged with accessory after the fact. The shooting happened last night at the McDonald's on Cherry Road. That's near Winthrop University.
Police say witnesses saw the teen talking to the suspects in a gray SUV before being shot. At this hour, he still remains on life support. Police tell us they are still searching for additional suspects.
Now to your forecast, and it is a beautiful day across our area, as you can see from this live look over uptown right now.
Yeah, things looking good. Meteorologist Chris Mulcahy joining us now. Chris, we have been talking about a false fall for a while now. I know that everyone at Starbucks has their pumpkin spice, but you're saying not quite.
Yeah, iced pumpkin spice. We got to go back that direction because it's summer again. Yeah, that false fall, going to see several of those dips on and off really over the next month and a half. But right now it's on the way up. We're already up to 81 degrees. There was one day last week that had a high of 80 degrees. We're already past that point, and it's not even noon yet. At least with those beautiful Carolina blue skies, not a cloud in the sky yesterday. I think we're very similar as far as how that forecast is going to work out for us. Temperatures in the lower 80s about an hour hour from now, and then we'll hold on to the upper 80s a majority of the afternoon. That's a big difference from yesterday. I think it's very similar how it looks, how it feels. Today will just feel a little bit warmer than what we had over the weekend. 90 degrees, what we're forecasting today. Yesterday we had a high of 88, then 93, 95, 96 before we're back to 90 degrees. So what a difference, right? 5 days of the 80s, now 6 days of the 90s. But this looks to drop again. Coming up, we're going to talk about maybe when you can have round 2 of false fall. Also when those rain chances and thunderstorms could be rolling back into the Charlotte area.
All right, Chris, thanks. As we speak, tens of thousands of students are back in class this morning for the first day. If you take a look here, Caldwell, Richmond, Union, Alexander County Schools, just a few of the districts welcoming students back.
This morning, CMS says it's starting to overcome some hurdles that came up towards the end of last school year, like teacher and bus driver vacancies.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards heard from district leaders today about where those vacancies stand and how they're prepared for the first day.
CMS welcomed more than 140,000 students to school today. And while the district has faced challenges trying to hire on new staff, every classroom had an instructor, and 839 buses went out to take kids to school. Croft Community School was just one of many CMS schools alive with excitement for first day of school festivities.
So in a minute, you're going to start to see some bubbles and hear some music and some dancing in the carpool line. All staff will be at their doors cheering for kids, excited, making sure that they're ready to go and greeting them at the door.
And kindergartners weren't the only new faces coming through the door. Janae Oliver is new to Croft as a guest teacher this year.
I started with CMS as a substitute and just kind of feeling out the water, seeing if it was something that I was interested in. Everybody has their own style of teaching, and I want to bring my own experience into my classroom.
It's just one example of CMS's amped up efforts to recruit and retain instructors, which Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill says started back in January.
It's been incredibly successful, making sure that we are recruiting from all different places and also doing an excellent job making sure that our teachers are classroom ready.
The district has hired on 600 new teachers this year and is still working to fill about 300 more positions.
Yes, CMS has been doing a great job trying to recruit great talent to put in front of our kiddos. I know at Croft we are recruiting great talent year-round, so I have some new teachers that have served as substitutes and then teacher assistants and now have moved into guest teacher roles, and we'll be partnering with the CMS residency program this year to make sure that they're ready to go.
The district says the vacancies shouldn't have any impact on students' experience. Families are encouraged to connect with teachers and make it a great year for everyone.
But just trust us and partner with us, and we're going to take good care of kids.
CMS has also made progress on hiring more bus drivers, but they are asking parents to plan for some delays on after-school bus routes, at least for the first 2 weeks of school. For WCNC Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards.
All right, Destiny, thank you. Now to a reminder for parents. This year, CMS is asking kids not to use those 3-ring binders with the metal rings, and that's because they will set off metal detectors, and it could lead to extra searches. And while this can sound inconvenient, the district says the systems have been really effective at keeping weapons out of school.
Meantime, Hopewell High School in Huntersville starting the school year this morning without its principal. We've learned LaDwan Pratt is suspended with pay. Over the weekend, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools told parents in an email that Pratt was currently out, but did not say why. Retired Principal Mike Turner will act as principal at the school in the meantime.
Well, over the weekend, we heard from loved ones of the woman found dead in a QT bathroom.
On August 17th, police say a man followed Glendina Dixon into the gas station, then bludgeoned her with a hammer.
WCNC Charlotte's Anna King spoke with Dixon's friends and family at a vigil, sharing how they're coping with this tragedy.
It's hurting. I guess we'll just have to leave it in God's hands for right now.
Many gathered at Camp Green Park to say their goodbyes to 47-year-old Glendina Dixon.
We don't understand why. We want to know why. I'm angry. Like I say, God say you have to forgive. Right now, I can't forgive because she didn't deserve it.
You met Tamara, she liked you. You got a friend indeed.
Dixon's life was cut short last Saturday night at the Quick Trip on Trailer Drive. Investigators say she was followed into the bathroom by 53-year-old Sam Rory, who beat her with a hammer.
She was a lovable person. What could she have done to be done the way she was done? She was a lovable person. I'm going to miss her and I love her.
It just won't be done.
At the vigil, there were candles lit, prayers, and long hugs. as they tearfully provided comfort to each other in her memory.
It's hard. It's just very hard because, you know, stuff happens, but we would never be looking for nothing to happen like that to her. Tama was full of life. She was full of joy.
Now the family's left trying to figure out why and how to move forward.
That was Anna King reporting. Police are asking that anybody with information that can help them with that investigation contact them at 704-334-1600. At any moment, a Lexington woman will appear in court after leading police on a short chase. It happened Saturday night near a bar in downtown Morganton. Police say they were called to investigate a hit and run. A short time later, they found Cassandra Queen. We're told that she tried to get away from police. She hit a patrol car and then damaged another. Queen is facing several charges and is being held on a $24,000 bond.
In just hours, Charlotte City leaders are expected to present their updated plans for the Red Line train, but the clock is ticking and some neighbors still aren't on board. Just 2 weeks ago, the Matthews Town Council voted to reject the project overall. The plan includes a 1% sales tax, but instead of the proposed Silver Line light rail, Matthews would get a bus transit system. One nonprofit that works to boost economic development says the bus system would make his job harder.
The Silver Line was supposed to be an economic shot in the arm and an injection of money, investments, folks coming to our community that we have been lacking, like I said, for the better part of 2 decades.
Well, city leaders will present their plans at 5 tonight, followed by a meeting next week to officially authorize the purchase of the line. The city only has until September 9th to buy the tracks from Norfolk Southern. After that, the sales tax proposal will go to the General Assembly before appearing on your ballot next year.
Meantime, the bus lanes on Independence Boulevard are finally back open after 7 years. Crews started to work on the $1.4 million project back in March. 5 CATS bus express routes will use the lanes. You can take a look at the routes on the CATS Pass app.
With about 70 days until Election Day, both presidential campaigns are crossing the nation, making their case to voters. In 2 minutes, an update on the race for the White House.
Lots of growing concerns over West Nile virus cases here and across the country. This coming after we saw a case confirmed in York County over the weekend.